it's Mimi Webb, and I wanted to invite you all into the studio to talk to some special guests from all different walks of life. Buckle up, because this is going to be the best gossip session of your life. Hey guys, it's Mimi Webb, but here with a special guest who is the one and only Lisa Hawkyard. She is incredible, and Lisa actually got me into a better mindset in 2022 and helped me understand everything about perspective. So I'm very excited to be introducing you here today. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
I know, it's
really
so lovely.
Good.
You know, I think it's crazy, isn't it, when, you know, we kind of met each other, you know, we went through everything, we dug up everything for me, and like it was very amazing, like therapeutic, and just to get my mindset back on the right wavelength.
Yeah, but you were ready.
yeah,
That's the difference.
Sure.
You were ready. No, it was great. So thank you for inviting me.
No, of course. I'm so happy you're here. So to jump in with it, so what would you say you do? Like, what would you say your whole kind of skills in the mindset world and mental health, well-being, how does it work for you?
So I'm in a place of transition. So mindset is massive, and everything is about mindset. No matter what anyone says, it all starts here.
Yeah.
So my perspective on mindset is helping you understand that you do have a spin, you have a choice. For every up there's a down, every in there's an out, every hot there's a cold. There's always another option, and my role is to really introduce people to the fact that there are choices, because quite often we get so tuned into just believing we have to do things a certain way because so-and-so said, or parents say, or work colleagues say, etc. And we actually don't. We can actually take a step back and just be our true selves, and that really start to actually decide what we want to do.
I love that, especially like when you know, I think when you work with a therapist or a mindset coach, or, you know, for well-being, all of the above, I think you always think that they've got it all together, and that's it, the key to it all. And actually, you're right. It's like we're all human beings, and we're all working through our own stuff.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes as well, going back to perspective, it's like all perception. It's how people perceive you to be, for me to be, whoever to be. And actually, you know, everyone seems to think that everyone is perfect or should be perfect, and there is no such thing as perfect. And it's like, it's really brave to step forward, and, you know, even you doing this, it's like, it's so brave to just step forward and do something different, but something that actually feels really good for you.
Yeah, 100%. It's like your calling, isn't it? Your instincts, you know where, because that's the thing I think for me, you know, even wanting to start this podcast and these lives, is that I really wanted to dig deep into things that I wasn't as educated on, and I really wanted to be able to sit with myself and kind of start to learn more about these things. And, you know, mental health's been so important to me, as you know, and back in 2022 we met around, was it end of summer or something, for a few months, and we just went through all of it, everything I was going through. I was going through a really bad breakup, but I think that came with a lot of other things that was going on at the same time, and it all kind of came crashing down. And I think, you know, like you said, having that time to really improve yourself, it's such a brave thing, and it's something we all should do and strive to do, because that's how you grow, right?
It's very underestimated. And I think as well, just having a conversation with somebody who listens, not necessarily tells you what to do, that's massive, because just to be heard and understood is validating our feelings, and as a person, that's all we want, isn't it? Just to be validated for whatever our options, our choices are, just to be validated for your decisions, your choices. That's so important. And the answers are always within you, within me, and suddenly we, just by having open conversations with someone trusted in a safe place, then you actually find your own answers.
Yeah, no, so true. So I remember when we did our work together, and it was so important just to be in just the space you're in and look at what's around you, and there's nothing else that matters, and there's like an instant peace you get from doing that. And like you said, your phone, you, like, even for me, I'm always thinking, I need to check my phone, I need to check how many TikTok views I've got on that TikTok. Like, it eats you up, and it's actually so, it's just toxic, and it's just not a good way for anyone to live. As long, but like you said, as long as there's a boundary and you balance it, and there's enough of this and enough of that, it's sustainable. But you have to keep an eye on it, right?
Yeah, and I think going back to boundaries, I think it's important, because you know, you can have certain times of day. I mean, fine, check your phone, absolutely, but maybe don't check it before a certain time, or leave it on the other side of the room, or anything like that. I think that's really important. But what you're saying about the present moment, I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you. A book called Ichigo Ichi. Did I ever ever mention that to you? Japanese book.
Oh yeah, you did.
Did
you
I?
did
Yeah,
talk to me about
I made a
that.
note of it. I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
So Ichigo Ichi, I don't know if you remember, it's about this conversation that we're having will never ever happen again.
I think you were telling me that, and then we went into deja vu from that conversation. Yeah.
So being really present in that moment, knowing that this will never happen again, why wouldn't you make the most of it?
Yeah.
Because we might come and sit here again, but we won't be wearing the same clothes, it won't be the same day.
Yeah.
We will be different because we will have been enhanced from this conversation.
Yes,
okay.
wow.
And I put a spin on that as well. So if something awful happens, I would say, Ichigo Ichi, this will never happen again.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. You would say that in that exact that line, that word. How do you say it?
Ichigo Ichi.
Ichigo Ichi.
It's a book. It's all about Japanese culture. And it's really good. It's really easy to read.
Oh my God, I need to read into that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. But just staying present, because if you stay present, you are here now, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're not back there. You're not rushing forwards.
For sure. Yeah. And I remember you were talking to me. Something else I really took from our sessions was there's two people. There's your number one and your number two, and there's your soul and your core, and then your mind.
Yeah.
And that was what I found really interesting, is that, because you know how you feel like your mind plays tricks on you. Mine always does that to me. Where
number two.
Yeah, that's number two. And I remember you were saying to me, don't listen to number two. That's not you. That doesn't mean that's who you are. That doesn't.
It's ego.
Yeah, it's all ego. That doesn't. That isn't who you are.
Yeah, like there's two parts of you. So number one is you and all your amazingness and who you're meant to be and your creativity and your flow and your soul, your essence and all of that.
Yeah.
And then we have this number two that's like mind monkeys, like monkey chatter.
Yeah.
So whenever we're feeling down on ourselves or we're thinking, there's no way we can do that. I'll be really honest. Even yesterday I was like, oh gosh, I'm doing this podcast tomorrow. Like, oh God, what am I going to say? What am I going to wear? And I was like, stop it. You know exactly what you're going to say. You know exactly what you're going to wear, and it's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
But we've got to take control of number two.
Yeah.
Because we are number one.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. We are number one. So you know, as soon as you get this other little voice, it's like somebody having a little attitude, like, be quiet, pipe down.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's not your time.
No, exactly. Just stay over there.
Yeah.
But we have the control. But again, with mindset, if we let it run, then we can spiral out.
Yeah.
And if we take control of it and be really, it's all about awareness. If we're really aware, then it's like, right, okay, that's number two talking, or whatever you want to call it. You know, have to call it number two. It's just easier.
How did you get into everything? How did this become
the beginning?
Yeah, the beginning. How did this become your lifeline?
Right, so I've always been fairly positive. Even when I was younger, everyone used to say, like, you always found the silver cloud. And I was like, that's just how I roll. That's just who I am. But going back to 2012, I think it was, I actually had spinal surgery. Wow. So I had scoliosis, but the main thing, even before I went for the operation, I was like, I am going to walk again. I am not going to be in a wheelchair. While I was recovering, one of my friends had always said, like, you need to watch The Secret, which is kind of bog standard where you start. Yeah. Like, you need to watch The Secret. And I was just like, okay, all right, I'll watch The Secret. Yeah. So I started to watch it, and in the film was a guy called Bob Proctor, who's like he's not with us anymore, but he's a massive thought leader, all about mindset. Found out there's this Proctor Gallagher Institute. Yeah. So I signed up, did the coaching program, ended up going to Toronto to be in like one of 50, and fed off this information. Went to LA. I did so many bits and bobs, and that's what really got me into it. And it's like, I need to bring this to the average everyday person. Yeah. So I went back, I set up a group, I started to do local classes, did some coaching, as you know, just all of those things. Yeah. And that's where I really got drawn into it.
That's amazing. And also, Lisa, you really are that person to us, like, especially to me. Like, you've just shined such a light on so many people's lives. Thank you. Just to be able to open up that world, and just to open up the mindset and the mental health kind of conversations is so important.
No,
and
it is.
I think you're right. Like, everyone goes through a time in their life where it gets pretty dark, and you have to dig deep, and then you find this kind of, I'd say, like, your higher self, right? Like the goddess kind of
absolutely.
Moment where you then, your life then goes, and now look at, that's amazing that you've come from that into this.
And you know, we're all on a journey. I'm still working a few bits and bobs out. Yeah. But I think the important thing is to say, like, every single person has their uniqueness. Every single person, no matter what other people say or think, even the worst person in the world will have some goodness in it. Yeah. And I'm very much like, I'm always looking for the best in people, but have boundaries. If it's not going to work, then fine, move on. Yeah. But always look for the best in someone and meet people where they're at. You know, the more work you do on yourself, the more compassion you have for other people. So you might, some people are like, oh, he's a waste of space. Well, actually, why is he a waste of space? What's happened in his life, her life, to make something happen? And you don't have to get fully involved in it, but actually everyone has a story.
100%. It's all, you look on social media and it's all, everyone looks like they're having the best time ever.
Oh no, it drives me
it's
crazy.
All so fake. And I think this is another reason I really wanted to do, and I think I've mentioned this, that I really wanted to do this because I wanted people to see that there's so many different sides to what we do, especially as artists and people that have to, be on social media a lot to kind of share our new music and promote our new music. It's so important that we've all kind of lived those same milestones to everyone else, but we're actually also just trying to be humans and grow and a real person. And I think it's good for people to see that, because even sometimes I sit there and I go on social media, I'm like, oh, and I'm like in a really, like, maybe I'm a bit down, it's like just didn't work out, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, what? And then I start comparing myself, and that's the big thing I've learned this year. Comparing is like, that just kills all joy, all creativity. What would you say on that kind of front of the comparison side?
I would say stay in your lane. All right. So when I say that, it's about just be who you need to be. And we'll go back to the cars for a second. So you're on the motorway, you're all driving down, I don't know, around the M25. There's 3 lanes, all right? There's cars going past you, there's going to be a Mini, there's going to be a Jag, there's going to be a bus, everything.
Lambo.
If you want, you can have that. Whatever you want. But there's lots of different people going along. Okay. And as you're driving along, no one's looking in the next car going, oh, look at that. So it's like having this protective bubble around you and doing what you want to do. And you're allowed to deviate. You can change your mind. Going back to I don't know if you've listened to Fern Cotton, Happy Place.
Yes,
She's amazing.
Her podcast.
So going back whenever it was, I was listening to her podcast and she was having a conversation about her and how she changed direction. And just out of that, I was going through like, oh, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And just in that moment, she was saying about she changed from what she was doing on the radio and TV to just doing what she's doing with Happy Place. And she literally just said, I changed my mind. And I was like, of course. And she owned it. She was so, and I was just like, that's exactly what I'm doing. But I'm going to be open about it because I felt a little bit embarrassed because I've been doing this, doing that. And suddenly it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. It doesn't sit right with me. And also because people were telling me how I should be. Oh, you need to do this, you should do that, you should have this. And I was going, okay. And then suddenly I was just like, this doesn't sit right with me. These are what you think I should be doing, and I don't feel comfortable doing it. So I stripped everything back and just went off and did other stuff, went a bit travelling and all sorts of bits and bobs. Because
life's just too short as well. That's something as well that I've been feeling this year is, I kind of felt a bit like, I had the craziest 2 years with work and everything was so exciting and it was so new and I was like, wow, and it still is. I love my music, but I also love talking about mental health and doing other things as well. I'm not just one thing. I remember we were talking about this and I said, we're not just made of one thing, we're made of so many different things.
Absolutely.
And giving love to every part of you is so important. And I'm really excited. I'm still going to next year do my album and I'm really looking forward to it, but I want to be more honest with my fans and where, like, it's like you said, just opening that conversation up with vulnerability and where are the songs stemming from, what is actually going on back in the background of things. And I think that's the thing I felt was life is too short if I need to be my authentic self. And I think it's important that people remember that life's too short. And even if you are sitting on the couch watching TV and you're having a moment and maybe you feel like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. It's like, no, with whatever, like you said, with everything within, as long as that feels good, no one else can judge. It's no one else's business as well.
Absolutely.
Because that was another thing you said to me actually about that. No, it's not your business what that person thinks of you.
Exactly that.
And and that's the boundary you set for yourself. Like you said, just being flexible around what makes you happy. And because I also love the tapping.
Oh yes,
I do that a lot. I think because that's when we started working together, when I was having the panic attacks and just always kind of on panic mode, the fight or flight kind of. Just, I remember I used to go to sleep and I'd wake up panicking and it'd be like a dream or something and I'd snap out. And I think that's really important as well, is like you said, having those little ways of like a tapping or like the calm of the eyes, just to kind of switch out of it. I always stroke my arm.
That's perfect.
And it makes me so, it just calms me down.
Yeah, that's it. Because it's like, as soon as we do anything that stresses us out, we have this cortisol. We've got this thing called the vagus nerve that literally runs up and down our spine. And that vagus nerve literally feeds every single organ in our body. So if we're in fight, flight or freeze, we're creating cortisol, stress, and it's just going to go to all our body. But as soon as we transmute that, or alchemize it into, say, dopamine, like the happy hormones, it literally neutralizes all that stress. And that's why it's so important to sit down and watch the telly, to press pause, to go and walk in the park, to do all the cliche stuff. But it's so important. And sometimes I think the reason behind it actually needs to be expressed more, because everyone just goes, go and sit in nature. But the reason you want to
touch a tree.
Yeah, exactly. I love a tree. But the reason you're doing it is to actually lower your cortisol by creating the dopamine. And all of that. And that kind of goes to the point, this is the bit that blew me away, is, everyone goes, oh, love over fear. But it is, love is the dopamine, and then that transcends and it neutralises the fear. So love is more stronger than fear.
That's amazing.
So do the things you love, and then you're going to feel a little bit more.
So Lisa, I know me and you we're very spiritual people as well. We're very connected with the earth and the universe and how it kind of works in our best intention. So when we had our sessions, I remember you told me about the swaying. And I think we were talking about you kind of ask the universe a question, and then you kind of stand still, and forward is yes and back is no.
Yes.
So tell us more about that.
I still do that. I know you said you still do it. And I'll tell you something else that I use it with as well. So with the swaying, just so it's clear, it's about standing still, like flat feet, bare feet preferably, or socks, whatever. And if you're unsure about it, you've never done it before, ask yourself a question. So, for example, just to make sure you know which way is yes and which way is no. So I would say, is my name John? Of course it's not. So my body, you just sort of stand still, preferably with your eyes closed, and have your hands, I don't want to put my hands across my body. And you'll find your body just literally, naturally will sway one way. So obviously I'm not John, so my body should go forward, okay? And then ask yourself a yes. So is my name Lisa? Yes. So I'd go backwards. And then it's about tuning into yourself, your higher self. And it's like, and you know what you want deep down. Know, I know really what we want, but we get swayed by other things. So it's ask yourself, is it for my highest good, however you want to word it? Is it for my best interest? Should I go whatever it is? Shall I blah blah blah? And then you'll find the answer. It will sway. And I've even done it things like with like vitamin supplements. Is it in my best interest that I still take this? And my body goes yes or no. Is there anything that you want to do? But the bottom line is you're tapping into who you really are. And we forget we've got this power. We've got this innate power. If you think about, we come into this life and we just stop, breathe like that. All these little things that we just come in. We're like a clean slate when we arrive, and we're imprinted by other people's opinions. Other people's they think we would be doing, all of those things. So it's just taking us back to our absolute core and what we really, really want to do. And it's so simple. But the sway is brilliant. It really is.
And also, like, I think believing in yourself when you're in that place where you're like, the nerves, or like you're just like, oh, what's gonna, you start to kind of panic a little bit, and just knowing that you can do it, just having that belief is so important, because what we believe. Also, I was thinking this actually the other day, that no one knows what's going on in our minds, and I don't know what's going on in their mind. And even if we get worried about what that person thinks or this person thinks, they've got so much of their own things going on in their head, and vulnerability and insecurities. They're not thinking about what we're thinking or what we're doing. And I think that's something that is so important, to sometimes sit back and remind yourself in the nicest way, you are not the king or queen. Like, no one's even the king and queen, like, there's many around the world, kings and queens, which I wish a queen, love a queen, but I love a queen, but I'm not thinking about the queen, a queen.
It doesn't matter.
Like, it's just your thing. I'm just thinking of myself, and I'm not everyone's main character. Like, and I think it's sometimes important to remember that, isn't it? That I'm not the main character in everyone else's life. I'm just my main character in your life. That's important.
That's it. No, I think it's really important to remember that, and I think as well, society makes, you know, if you ever think, oh, it's not all about you, and you think so much of yourself. Well, actually, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And it is all about me, because if I'm not okay, the people around me aren't going to be okay. And that's important as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, literally feed yourself with what you need.
Yeah, yeah. And then everyone will be happy to be around you as well.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa.
You are so welcome.
It was an amazing conversation. You are incredible.
Bless
thank
you.
you so much.
I'm so proud of you for doing this. I think it's brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy. No, honestly, this has been an incredible conversation, and I'm sure so many people out there love to hear this, and it's amazing.
Nice.
Sending lots of love to everyone
Absolutely.
this year, 202025. Here we come. We're very excited.
Be who you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Be who you want to be. Oh, thank you.
You are so welcome.